Are you looking to get into audiobook narration or just starting out and are totally confused about all of the jargon and all of the terminology being used? You have no idea what anyone is talking about? Well, stick around. We'll explain some of these for you. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. Today we're going to be talking about jargon and terminology that every audiobook narrator should know. If you're hearing words being thrown about and you have no idea what anybody's talking about, well, let's go ahead and cover the most used words that you may hear in conversations, so you might have a little bit more of an understanding of what is going on. The first one that you might hear, especially here on my channel, is LibriVox.org. LibriVox is where you can go and volunteer to narrate books in the public domain. This is a great place to give it a try. This is a great place to see if this is something that you want to do. There is no pressure of, well, not as much pressure of time. In this process, you learn if you can, in fact, sustain being a narrator and narrating for long periods of time, where you can discover if you can, in fact, get the technical aspects down. This is a great confidence builder, and it is something that I myself did in the very beginning, and should give it a try if you're looking to get into this and see if this is something you want to do. This is another website that we talk about here a lot on my channel. This is Gutenberg.org. This is a website where all of the books in the public domain are listed. These are all books out of copyright. So if you want some books to practice on without the fear of having any kind of copyright issues, you can go here and narrate these books in the public domain for practice. Another great website is the Narrator's Roadmap, and there is a full glossary of terms on this website. If there's something that I don't cover today that you have possibly heard in conversations or online somewhere and you need to get a good definition of what this is, Narrator's Roadmap is a great source of information, but they also do have a great glossary of terms. The place that we talk about most often on my website is ACX. ACX stands for Audiobook Creation Exchange. It is an arm of Amazon. This is where audiobook narrators and authors or rights holders come together to create audiobooks for Audible. Now, keep in mind that ACX is not available in every country, but this is not the only audiobook distributor out there. There are dozens and dozens of them. All it takes is a simple Google search. Another term that you hear quite often is a DAW. DAW is actually DAW. It stands for Digital Audio Workstation. And in the most basic sense, that is your recording software. Now, you have several different options of recording software that you can choose from. There is Audacity, which is free to use and download. There is Reaper. There is Adobe Audition. There is Studio One. There are Ableton. There are quite a few of them. I think the most common ones that I hear being used are Adobe Audition, Reaper, and Audacity. And really, in choosing the DAW that you want to use is really preference and what you want to pay. Audacity, again, is free to use and download. Reaper is I believe, a one-time fee. And Adobe Audition is a monthly subscription. It really just comes down to preference. It comes down to which one is more comfortable. And I believe with Reaper and Adobe Audition, you can do free trials to test them out, to see if these are the ones that you want to work with. But choosing the DAW that you can easily understand and use, which is most, palatable, I suppose. I know they're all new and they're a little bit confusing, but one of them is going to speak to you. And keep in mind that this recording software is what you're going to be using every day for many days, maybe even years. So this is definitely something that you want to invest time in understanding and learning how to use. This is where you're going to not only record all of your narrations, but you will also be doing your editing, adding your effects, and all of those things. So they're definitely worth investigating, testing out, choosing the right one for you. In conjunction with the DAW, you'll also hear effects rack. Effects rack. I've applied my effects rack. What effects rack are you using? A rack of effects is basically individual effects that are applied to your audio. So when you record something, you might have to, after you record it, you may have to add a noise reducer to reduce ambient noise, to hit, some of the standards that are required for the files, for audiobook files. You may want to apply an equalizer to improve the sound of your voice. You may need to add perhaps a mouth declick if you have a sticky mouth. There are a number of effects that you can apply to your audio to enhance the quality of the audio itself. And which effects that you use are what is called your effects rack. Getting into audiobook creation, there are 3 different pay types. The first one we're going to talk about is PFH, or per finished hour. And this is where you are not sharing in any kind of royalties. You are paid outright for the production of this audiobook. You can either choose to negotiate with the client, the rights holder, or the author. You can negotiate either 50% of the amount up front and then 50% when the audiobook is completed. You can negotiate 20% up front, 30% up front, but I do recommend that you do get a percentage up front. It helps to dissuade any ne'er-do-wells or scammers and things of that nature, and it also will cover your time in the prep work and perhaps even the beginning stages of narration for you if the author decides to cancel the contract. Now, a finished hour of an audiobook is roughly about 9,300 words, and the industry standard for audiobook creation is $250 per finished hour. And that may sound like a lot, but keep in mind that a finished hour includes the hours of narration, editing, formatting that go into creating that finished hour. So each finished hour could essentially be 5, 7, 3, 8, depending on the narrator's skill level. So it's many, many hours to make one finished hour of audiobook narration. Another pay type is royalty share. This is where the audiobook narrator is only sharing in the profits with the rights holder. So, for example, if you were working with ACX or Audible, and the percentage that the two of you get is in total 40% of each sale of the book. So you're sharing in that. So the producer or the audiobook narrator gets 20%, and the author or rights holder gets the other 20% of every sale of that audiobook. Royalty Share Plus is sort of a hybrid between royalty share and per finished hour. There's a little bit of both. Well, actually a little bit of per finished hour and royalty share. Now, the per finished hour rate could be slightly lower than your standard rate, or you could have your full standard rate plus the royalty share. That is really up to you and the rights holder to negotiate, but it's both. It's a per finished hour rate plus royalties in sharing of the profits of the book going forward. RH is referred to as the rights holder. The rights holder is the owner of the copyright of the book. So this could, in essence, be the author. It could be a publisher. It could be someone who maybe the ownership had passed down to, but this is the owner of the rights of the book. I get this question a lot. When it comes down to dual or duet narration, the first one we're going to explain is dual narration. This is where you typically have two narrators that are narrating chapters of different points of view. So, for example, if you have a female character, that female character is going to narrate the female points of view. When you have a chapter that's her point of view versus a chapter that's his point of view, right? So you'll have two narrators narrating each point of view. And a duet narration is when you'll have two narrators narrating the character lines of their specific character all throughout the book. So regardless of whose point of view it is, the female has her lines and the male has his lines. And then in addition to that, you'll also see full cast audiobooks. And these are some of my favorites to listen to. And this is a full cast, meaning every character in the book is a different narrator. And there's usually music and sound effects, and these are just fabulous. These are graphic audio, right? These are amazing. But that is a full cast audiobook. Here's another one that you might hear a lot. That is a pickup and or a revision. And generally speaking, these are changes or additions that need to be made to the audiobook by the rights holder. And just a couple extra ones that just came to mind are editing, of course, is the going through the file after you've recorded it and removing any retakes, removing any big obnoxious breaths, and maybe perhaps taking a sip of water. You're cutting out or you are just enhancing the audio file after it's been recorded. Another one that you'll hear probably a lot is formatting, and that is essentially changing the final aspects of the file to adhere to a certain kind of standard. Meaning, there are several different quality types of audiobook files or just audio files in general that involve different sample rates, bit depths, whether the format is in WAV or if it's MP3. These are generally pretty easy to change in your DAW, and you will probably see in some other videos of people doing that. But that is basically what formatting is. It isn't anything super time-consuming, so don't let all of these terms scare you. I do have some other videos here on my channel where I go into depth with editing, with formatting, with achieving all of the noise floor standards, RMS, all of the things that are ACX or audiobook specific, which brings me to ACX standard. I didn't want to forget that one. ACX standard is the formatting requirements that your audio files need to adhere to, which includes the noise floor standard, the sample rate, the bit depth, the RMS, the peak amplitude, and whether the file is in mono or in stereo, and then also in MP3. And I do have videos here on my channel where I go through all of these. They're not scary, I promise you. Trust me, if I can figure it out, then I think you'll probably be just fine with a little bit of help from YouTube and Google. And ask questions. Join groups. I can't express that enough. Join voiceover or audiobook groups, whether they be on Facebook, whether they are mastermind groups, whether they are peer groups, whether they are groups like I have, my platinum group that you can find on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Join groups. These are great places for you, especially as a brand new voice artist or audiobook narrator. These are places where you can find not only camaraderie, but you can ask questions in a safe environment from people who have been where you are or are in the same place that you are. And the support and the growth and the confidence that you get from joining these groups and being part of, something where people understand and can support you is everything for your growth. So at the very least, join some groups and ask questions, ask for guidance. This industry has a hand held out for you. All you have to do is take it. Thank you so much for watching. I do go live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST, and we discuss topics like this and many others. If there's something that you would like to discuss in a future live, then please comment down below. But other than that, thank you for your time and watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.